All right. We ready to go? Waiting for notes. Just, hi. Good? All right. Welcome everyone here at ICSC Retail Innovation Forum in Amsterdam, and those of you that are joining us virtually. I'm Laura Marrero, the Strategy Director and Retail Practice Area Leader at Gensler, and I am excited to welcome all of you to the NEXTGENLIVE event. Today, we will be talking about innovation or invasion, addressing technology in retail, and how it is bridging the gap. This is the new normal of retail, and you need to adapt. But as our speakers will share with us momentarily, technology alone won't save you. So our speakers today are Mary Wallace, who is the Retail and Customer Behavior SME at IBM iX, and Karen Harris, Managing Director of intuDigital Innovation Hub, part of Intu Shopping Centers. Already, let's give them a round of applause.
I haven't said anything yet.
Thank you so much to our NextGen sponsors, ECE and the European Shopping Center Trust. Now, this will be a completely interactive session. So for those of you here, you've been using Slido, and we'd like to invite everybody at home to do the same. You just type in your browser, sli.do, the event code ICSC Europe, and just start writing questions as you hear the speakers speaking. Also, if you see questions that you like, it would be really helpful for you to upvote. You can just basically like the question and it moves higher up in the queue. So you're letting me tell them the questions you want to hear about. Also, as if that's not enough, you can tweet at ICSC Europe or hashtag ICSC Europe through the event. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mary Wallace.
Go me. Right. I know that's right. First test. Can you hear me? Yes. Are you still awake? Yes. Sorry. To paraphrase John Lennon, for the people at the back, clap your hands. For the ones at the front, just rattle your jewellery. Keep getting told to take that off. Right. Hello. So I wanted to talk in a different way than perhaps about stores and shoppers than perhaps we've been hearing out. We've seen loads of fabulous examples of stores and innovation around place. But for anyone who knows me, I always want to talk about shoppers and people and shopping, because that's actually who we serve. So, second technology test. Yes. So this is your shopper. This is her bathroom. This is your shopper in the bath. She is showing off her face mask, her deep hair conditioner, her shelfie pictures. Who knows what a shelfie is? Oh my God, you're in retail. You do, but you're brilliant. A shelfie is when people who really love skincare and beauty, men as well as women, take a photograph of what's on their bathroom shelf, products they're loving, products they're using, and as you can see, them actually using the product. Now, Self-Care Sunday, or the Sunday facial, anyone doing Self-Care Sunday? Just me then, okay. It's the phenomenon, probably Instagram driven, where on a Sunday, because we're all thinking about wellness and mindfulness now, and we're being a lot more spiritual and trying to turn off our devices on a Sunday, we do things like take the dog for a walk, do a yoga class, we don't drink alcohol, we try and be a bit healthier, we might meditate, we have a long bath with a facial, we put our cashmere hoodie on, cashmere socks, or maybe not cashmere if we don't quite have that budget. We go to brunch, but the point is, this is lifestyle. This is shopping, and it's lifestyle, and it's entertainment. Where's Clifford? It's all of those things rolled together. These are the things that you sell, and the brands that you work with sell. Everything in one picture, from my home furnishings, the food I'm eating, the stuff I'm putting on my face, the stuff I'm taking on my face, the stuff I'm wearing, what my dog is wearing, everything, all that data in one picture, and then that picture's being shared, and that picture's being talked about. And it's on her WhatsApp feed. She's following the vlogger videos to teach you how to use the products. all of that information is not in your store, your shopping centre, it's in her bathroom. Because she's thinking about her look, she's thinking about how she feels, she's thinking about her lifestyle, she's on the quest for the perfect selfie. When, you know, the girls have the stripe that you can see from the moon, it's not very flattering. You know, well, I'm old, I'm allowed to say that. I'm old and I'm British. Can you tell? Cheers. Oh, dear. Bring my own tea bags next time. The point is, she's creating these looks. She's putting those things together with guidance. Is that guidance from you? From your retailers? From your shopping centres? From all the lifestyle stuff that we've seen? Don't know. This is her store, her bathroom, her selfie, her body. She is one of your merchandisers, or one of your brand's merchandisers. So what do we need to do for her? And why is this important for shopping centres or experience centres? Well, this customer's world is digitally driven, obviously, but her distinctions are not the same as yours. She doesn't operate from an inventory-led, merchandise-focused screen. She views the world as a continuum of conversations, of imagery, of ideas that are bleeding into each other, of physical and digital journeys, things that are blurring into each other. It's not obvious. We can't just put these things in boxes. She's multitasking, not just with her products, but with things she's doing, her points of view, her styles, how she's dressing her home, her multi-layered conversations. So that means stores are over, right? Well, who cares about physical stores anyway? Well, actually, she does. She's really busy. She's got a bath to take. That's why she has to take Sunday off. So she needs those stores, those physical spaces to work for her. So I think, complete digression now, I think the most interesting developments, or some of them in retail now, and shopping, can I just keep repeating the word shopping? Because that's what this is about. It's where that physical and digital kind of interlock or blurred picture are coming together to create something really delightful and meaningful and memorable and value. And now I'm probably going to commit an act of heresy for a British person anyway, by linking the BBC with shopping. Waits for Thunderbolt. Doesn't come, that's brilliant. This is the original BBC mission statement from 1922. And it was invented by a very grumpy Scotsman, who, wonderful, I'm marrying one, called Lord Reith, and he was essentially the first leader of the BBC, the first Director General. The mission statement then was, our purpose is to educate, inform and entertain. And that still stands today in 2018, after all of the technical revolution that we've all been through, the world has been through, and the BBC is one of the leading media companies in the world. And they were very clear about this from the outset. And it's still with us today, and it still serves purpose, and it still guides them as a company, and it stands for something for their viewers. I won't say customers, it's viewers. Now, I think that shops who still have that absolute purpose, where customers today are looking for that really strong editorial voice, a really clear answer to the question of, why do you exist? What are you for? And those, the BBC obviously, but stores, retailers, brands, whoever you are, if you have a very tight value proposition that serves you in the most contextually relevant way, it tells your customers who you are, which is an obvious thing to say, but I think these days sometimes that is not clear to a customer. It solves problems before they occur. It gives you that, yeah, that's what we're doing, let's not forget that. And it soothes the emotions of customers who are living in a fragmented, bewildering, sometimes confusing and scary world in a very engaging way. And I think we've had some brilliant talks today as well about the lines between retail, shopping, entertainment, media are blurring. The lines between physical, stones, bricks, wood, swipes, clicks are blurring. And this is a really profitable grey area that's emerging. It's not something to be scared of. It's unknown, but hey, it's a brilliant experiment for us all. It's a big Venn diagram that contains all of those things: the digital plumbing, the store, the customer, the product, the brand, the opinion leaders, the vloggers, the ambassadors, what a word, and my favourite, good old-fashioned store assistants who, if you run a store, are your solid gold best asset that you have. So use them, respect them, train them, incentivize them. Done in the wrong way, done in the right way, this can be a beautiful song, it's a harmonious symphony, it's an orchestra, it's a choir singing together one tune. It sounds amazing. But done in the wrong way, it's a cacophony, it's a cat's chorus, it's that strange music that comes out of the radio that I'm scared of, that I don't understand, because it's just bleeps. Again, I'm old, I don't understand. But what's your customer listening out for? Is she with you? Is she listening? Is she turned on by it? Or is she gone? Is she tuned out? Where's she gone? Has she tuned you out? So I've got some examples here of just a couple of stores, because I'm conscious you've seen a lot of stores already, of people that are singing their own song with feeling and with purpose. There are some new physical stores leading the way which have been specifically designed with purpose. So I'm just going to show you two of them, I think. So the first one, probably a lot of you know all about this one. We've already heard about Adidas, but this is the new Nike store, Nike Live store on Melrose in LA. So this is built on data, driven by digital, and purpose-built for the customer's lifestyle. All the buzzwords are there. It's humanised, it's socialised, it's digitised. But I think what's important here is that it's not just informed by something like the Nike Plus app, it's controlled by it. So if as a customer I walk in here and I'm not part of the Nike world, I don't have the Nike Plus app, I probably get about 60% of the capability, maybe 50% of the store. Because things that don't happen would be, I wouldn't be recognised when I enter the store, I wouldn't be eligible for the extra benefits, I wouldn't be able to reserve store items in store for pickup. And there's a key word that Nike uses here, and it's not customer, it's member. It's member, and it's membership. So I'm a member of a complete world of service, of product, of brand belonging. And all of that is aligned to the Nike's mission, which is everybody an athlete. And that mission is both for the brand and the customer. They're completely in sync. Both the brand and the customer have purpose. So it's a completely unified experience for that customer. And obviously, as that customer using the app comes in, they're generating data. That data goes back into the store. That data from the store goes back into the Nike big machine at the top. That then in turn is used to inform all kinds of things that Nike does, which then goes back into the store. It's a nice virtuous circle. So is this profitable? Well, Heidi O'Neill, who's the president of Nike Direct, says this kind of personalised mechanism is converting around 40 times the value of any other mechanism that they use. So she's looking at that store as being part of the digital mechanic, and in fact, the language they're using now is breaking that down. And you can see here some of the plumbing around that. The second store I wanted to just quickly talk about is the Farfetch store of the future. And I know we've got a few Sandrine Deveau fangirls here. So Farfetch talk about this as their fashion retail operating system. So Farfetch was an online pure player. They actually provide a lot of the plumbing for a lot of the luxury fashion online sites. And a few years ago, they bought Browns, which is just off Oxford Street in London. It's a kind of cutting-edge fashion luxury store. And they also set up Browns East, which is in Shoreditch. And they've been really clear that what they're trying to create is what they call the fashion retail operating system. And the way that they work that is through what they call the universal login, the universal ID. So again, the idea that you're using the physical store not just as a test bed, but as a receptor to the customer. It is sensitive to the customer's needs. And I think there's a few really interesting things about that, not just because it's a great store, but the fact is that Farfetch are creating and licensing this capability to other brands, to other stores. It's not just for themselves. And they've been really clear about that purpose from the start. And what I love, one of the things I love about them is they've said the biggest challenge isn't the technology. It's about getting the store staff to adopt this and stopping seeing the sales assistant as simply in that box and seeing them as the ambassador, as important as that cool blogger or vlogger, or as cool and important as that fashion magazine. So putting people at the forefront And I think that is so important, and sometimes it gets lost. So trying to create that mix of how the store is used, and not just using previous customer purchase information, but using the people working in the stores and their experience and knowledge as well. Now, I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to skip past the latest and greatest example, which is Matches Fashion, which again was an online pure play. They've just bought a whole building. That tells you something, doesn't it? They've created 5 Carlos Place in Mayfair in London, which is a 5-story, I think this is a shopping centre, where you can watch a film, you can attend an art exhibition, you can go to an event, you can use it as your luxury living room in the city, because who in London now has a big living room unless you are a bazillionaire? Nobody does, right? So I think what's happening here is that digital is being used to power services, to create a new way of approaching the store. And I think the next step on from this thinking is not just thinking about the store, but what is the retail layer that's powering this? So if you start to think about some of the things that Alibaba is doing, that Amazon is doing, powering the home, powering mobility services, powering entertainment, I think that is the next step on top of this, and we'll perhaps get away from just the brand themselves, but they'll be working with others as well. I'm really trying hard not to say the word ecosystem here. And just really quickly, I think we've touched on the concept of gimmick a few times as well. So if you're thinking, great, let's just get the next big Instagram phenomenon and stick it in our stores, like the ugly £50 Fila trainers, which broke the internet this summer. Or, this is a real hat, by the way, the £650 Jakima's hat, which Selfridges sold out of. That's a gimmick, and I know we don't quite agree. There's nothing wrong with a gimmick in shopkeeping. Again, I use that word deliberately. That is not your purpose. That's something you can use for a summer at best. You know, it's your summer love. What are you going to do beyond that? You know, that's not your mission. And ultimately, my store, my selfie, my shelfie, it's got to be more than a website for me as a customer. It's got to be a capability that I can access and I can influence the decision-making about as well. It's got to be more than the building. It's got to be a living, breathing family of services and people and other stuff and partnerships that you need to decide what that is, that's responsive and sensitive to me. And it's got to be more than retail and more than shopping as well. It's got to be some kind of life layer for me, for that customer who's in her bath on a Sunday and pretty much doing a lot of those things herself. What is it that's going to inform and educate and entertain me? And now I probably owe you all a drink because I did say the word ecosystem. Damn. But this is the Shelfie of Dreams. So for those of you who know the brand Space NK, they recently did a whole campaign in their store about the Shelfie of Dreams. So this is all of those products that customer is using to the max and the nth degree. And that's how they're driving that conversation, not with just talking about product, but recognizing what the customer's doing in her home and that she is now their shop front. There we go.
Thank you. That was incredible. I could talk to you for about 5 hours, just saying.
Later.
That was absolutely incredible. But first, let me take a shelfie. I think that's a new song that needs to be out.
Have that for free.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So before we pivot to our next speaker, we have Slido up and running, and I wanted to let you guys all know that our first poll question is up, so that you could all take part and answer. Do you find innovation invasive? So get your phones out, vote, and if you have any questions that you want to start populating based on Mary's presentation, by all means do so. And now, please join me in welcoming Karen Harris, who will share how Intu is turning the retail world on its head.
Great. Can everyone hear me? Yes, mic's on. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to canter through this presentation, keep you all awake. Okay, so retail turning on its head. We know that it's time for disruption, innovation, and change, and we also know that an increasing number of retailers are failing, and there's lots who are struggling. And a lot of those retailers that you saw on that slide were department stores. So why are department stores struggling? What's going on there? And we've heard about this, haven't we, today, that the wholesale to retail model is really coming to an end because brands now have the ability through digital to create a unique connection with their consumers, which is fantastic for them because they can manage their margins with the vertical integration. They can manage their brand image and also their total customer experience. They don't need the middleman anymore. And so we all know that retail is far from dead. Well, I hope that everyone in this room knows that retail is far from dead. But we also know that those retailers who aren't able to shed their skin will die. I see that as a correction in retail, and we shouldn't try and help those retailers to survive unless they're prepared to change, because new retailers are coming from all different places. So let's just take a very quick look at the digital landscape. So some people are talking about 30% of retail being in e-commerce by 5 years' time. Now, my kids still think that actually online retail is about 90%, and I'm kind to have to say to them, no, actually, it's about anything between 17 and 20%, depending on who you're talking to. But what we do know is even now, e-commerce is concentrated in so few people's hands across the world. And clearly that's slightly skewed by the scale of companies like Alibaba and Amazon with huge, populations in China and in America. But what we're seeing is how social, voice, and subscription commerce is really starting to take hold and is growing at pace. And that's got massive implications for bricks and mortar stores. We also know, and this is coming really quickly, that in the next 2 years, products are going to be able to replenish themselves. Now, we've already got the dash buttons with Amazon where you can just literally reorder your washing powder by pressing the dash button. But as your dog food is 3/4 of the way through, it will know that it's time to reorder, and it will be able to alert you, and it might even reorder itself. Light bulbs that are about to go, they'll reorder themselves. So do we even need to shop if we have this predictive analysis where our products know before we even know what we need and what we want? And for me, I see one of the biggest disruptors coming is mixed reality to our shopping experience. And when I talk about mixed reality, I'm not talking about augmented reality through a mobile phone, which is interesting. I'm talking about heads up, strip of glass, maybe even contact lenses at some point, where we're laying this physical world with digital context, and we are able to make ourselves better, augment ourselves, because all of a sudden we can blur the digital and the physical worlds. Now, these guys are often talked about as being the big, scary monsters in retail. But, I always say, is Amazon even a retailer? Because actually, they're a technology, a services, a logistics, a data, a media, and an innovations business. And I am going to say it, they are a complete consumer ecosystem. And if you look at all the things that they do, and they do more than that, I couldn't fit everything round in a circle, where's their profitability? Well, their profitability lies in their cloud business, in AWS, not in their retail business. And Alexa is actually Amazon's most important platform. And it's the most important platform because it connects all of its ecosystem. So in a smart home, it can control your lighting, your heating, your security. And fantastic third parties have adopted Alexa, so Sonos, to have taken it as their control platform for their speakers. BMW, it's the voice platform for their cars. LG smart fridges, they're using Alexa as their operating system. And you can imagine that with Alexa and or Google Home or any of the other devices being embedded in our home, you can imagine how easy it would be if your child's not that good at French. Maybe they could teach your child French. Or let's say you've got 10 minutes and you want to do some exercises every day because you want to get flat abs. Well, maybe that could become your personal trainer. That's really convenient and great, but just think about how they're learning everything about our lives, all that data, and how they can predict what we need and what we want before we even know it. Now, I'm going to show you a quick clip, if it works. Here we go. So some of you might have seen this. This is from a couple of years ago, actually. It's an Alibaba film using Magic Leap's headset. So some of you will know Magic Leap. Magic Leap 1 was released to creators, to developers this year, and their consumer edition is coming out next year. What they're doing here is with the headset, they're able to scan their child's bedroom completely. And on this dressing table here, on this set of drawers, the mum would like to buy a light. I'm translating it in Chinese, by the way, in Mandarin. So they've pulled out the Alibaba website. They're looking at different lamps. She's been able to pull out a digital lamp and put it to scale in that space. And then she's having a look at some others. She decides she doesn't really like this lamp. She's going to get one a little bit bigger because it fits the space better. So here she is, pulling out this one here. It's got the reviews. It's got the price. Wow, she can order it. She's ready to go. She didn't even have to step out of her child's bedroom. So what on earth is going to happen to physical retail when we have that? So I say that physical retail is probably not going to be the core channel for buying, but what it will be is a portal into the brand and product experience. So we've heard a lot about experiences today, but product is really, really key. If the product is no good, it doesn't matter how good your experience is, you're still going to fail. And, you know, I look at brands that have amazing products, and they deliberately make it as difficult as possible for you to get hold of that product. They give it rarity, so you want it even more, and people will do crazy things to get these products. So convenience isn't everything. Product is everything. But I still think if you've got a good product, and that's your baseline, then you need to create this lifetime customer value. You need to create this emotion. And so actually, what's happening is retail's turning on its head. Media and social media is becoming the store, and the store is becoming this new media where we connect emotionally with the audience. Now, there's loads of gimmicks out there in retail. Lots of retailers are spending ridiculous amounts of money kind of in the tech world. And actually, I say to retailers, don't do it. So much in tech is counterintuitive. Test things cheaply and then see where you get traction. So what we do at Intu is we kind of look around and see who has got traction in the marketplace and what are the lessons we can learn from there. So how will retail stores adapt? So first of all, engaging brand stories. And you can use the example of an espresso here. So here you can see their club room for their members. Again, subscription is key now in retailing. They've got their tasting bar. So whilst they really don't mind, and actually they prefer if you bought everything online on subscription, what they want to do is get you into their brand story within their stores, and they want you to taste new varieties because that physical connection is really, really important. And also, the physical connection with the product and services is really important. So when you look at somebody like Dyson, which ultimately started off as a Hoover brand, and now they're this incredible engineering phenomenon, you know, you can walk into one of their stores and a stylist will do your hair in 5 minutes using their supersonic hairdryer, which you definitely didn't need, but absolutely want it by the time you've had your hair done in 5 minutes, and out you walk with the product. So that service experience is critical. And then a personalized interactive gateway to your brand. And obviously everybody's going to quote Apple here as being the absolute kings, queens of doing this. So this is their town squares. Again, they don't care if you stay all day and don't buy anything. What they want from you is they want you to belong to their brand forever. And that means playing with the product. That means going to their talks and listening to their education. And finally, the merging of e-commerce and physical operations for speed of delivery. And a good example here is Argos. Lots of people are trying to get to this, but Argos have really seamlessly got the operation from online into the physical store for pickup and also for delivery. So, physical media experiences that are so powerful, they inspire sales across any channel. And this is a prediction that in the US, literally by 2020, store experiences will be the second biggest marketing spend. Now, we don't see TV up here or any of the traditional things. Number one is data and data tracking. Number two is stores. So millennials, Gen Z, they make up 48% of our media audience. And so I asked the question, can retail be cool enough? You know there's some amazing stores out there already. I'm flicking through them for time. You can take your dolly to the child hospital at American Girl and have a cup of tea with your dolly in the cafe. Beta, an amazing store where you can get really physically dirty with electronics. It's a new way of selling electronics. Birchbox, a subscription beauty service, now has got a store where you can curate your own Birchbox, literally build your own Birchbox. Bite, create bespoke lipsticks for you, walk in with your fuchsia cocktail dress, and they will match your shade perfectly. And then I'm going to just end on this sort of flick through of stores on House of Vans, because House of Vans, and this is not new, but ultimately they're just we're a trainer brand. And here's their skateboard, park, if you like. Here's their live music stage, their kitchen, their bar, their private screening area, their brand collaborations, their events. All of this brand experience is what supports them. This is my favorite pop-up pretty much of all time. It's in Sydney. Here you can book to stay up all night and play Xbox in a themed room. Now, if that is not retail heaven, I don't know what is. So bringing it back to intu, and what do we do? So yes, we're a property business. We're consumer-centric, and we cater for all audiences. And sure, we're focusing on Generation Z and millennials because they are now 48% of the media audience. So we're also a retail business, we're a data business, we're a technology business, we're a publishing business, we're a subscription business, we're a logistics business. We are all of these things. We are no longer just a landlord. And I run intuDigital, which is our innovation hub, where we have new product development, we do R&D, and we look at new ideas and we test with a live audience as cheaply as we can. Lots of new ideas, and I'm going to just flick through some of the things that we're working on. One of the concepts we're working on at the moment is called the Power Wing, how we can use our space differently using a subscription model, looking at things like work space campuses, gaming zones, how can we use our land differently, landing pads for drones, last mile delivery, a wallet that will bridge our on and offline activities and world. Consumer content. So this is one of our products that's actually live. We have created our own media called Inside Source that is targeted specifically for millennials and Generation Z. Our target is 1 million subscribers a month. Last month we had 300,000 and literally we launched in August. And this content doesn't actually have our intu brand on it. It's purely to create this audience and engage this audience into the whole retail and shopping industry. And then finally, I want to end on conversational commerce. So this is a product that we've got currently in live testing. It's our voice assistant, and her name is Joy, and I'm going to give you a little overview of what she can do.
Hi.
Hi, what can I do for you?
Talk to Joy, shopping advisor.
Hi, I'm Joy. I can help you find your next fashion staples. What clothes would you like?
I'm going for a party. I need elegant black maxi dress.
Thanks. Now sit back and I'll find some options for you in the meantime.
I also need shoes. Can you find me red high heels, please?
Thanks. Now sit back and I'll find some options for you in the meantime.
How about little black pears to go with that?
Right, let's start with these first.
That makes me very happy, thanks.
I am happy if you are happy. Beaming face with smiling eyes.
Bye!
I very much look forward. Was a pleasure helping you today.
There we are. Okay, so Joy is very new. She's on Google Assistant, and she's learning from consumer searches as we go. And why are we doing this as a shopping centre? We're doing this because our vision is to merge our digital and our physical worlds. And when we're all walking around with our strip of glass and our mixed reality, when you walk into an intu shopping centre, you will be met by Joy. And Joy will be able to take you shopping and find exactly what you want for you. Thank you.
That's incredible. Well done. Please join over here. So if you guys are cool with it, we've got a few questions. But before we do that, we have another little Slido moment. And right now we're going to be doing a word cloud. If you pick up your phones or pick up your iPads, name one or two words describing innovation. So while you guys get started on that, I am going to get started with the plethora of questions that we get to go through next.
Where's she dressed?
First of all, that was amazing. Honestly, I am inspired by this in terms of, I'm not the best in terms of the split between digital and physical, but what you guys are talking about, powering things up to be in service to people, I think is spot on where I really believe it needs to go. So totally inspired. And so are some other people. So first, there's a question for Karen. What advice would you give NextGen members coming into the industry? What should their learning journey be in this new era of retail?
Wow, gosh, that's a big question. Look, my advice is to get out there. And, we can listen to the theory as much as we want, but there's nothing like the experience. And go visit different types of stores and experience them and, see where the pain points are and feel about what you love. Think about what you love about digital and about social and about content and what you love about physical retail. Because I always say there's amazing benefits online and amazing benefits in the store, but they're so different. So combining them will be the ultimate. So yeah, just get out and experience as much as you can.
Did you want to comment on that one as well?
Yeah, I would just say, and this is what I would say to anyone really, is you are not your customer, and being empathetic is probably one of the most important things you can do. So appreciate all ages, demographics, genders, backgrounds, and missions, because the person I am in front of you is not the person I will be tomorrow when I'm going into the centre of Manchester to do shopping. So appreciate your customer and appreciate all their facets and their different needs. And remember, it's not you. Remember, it's someone else, and go learn about that. And I absolutely agree what Karen says. Get off your backside and go into some stores and look at how the store assistants are working as well.
Agreed. Next question. How do shopping centers define their purpose if the retailers need to drive this relationship purpose with their own customer?
Are you a purpose talker?
Don't you do shopping centres?
Okay. How do shopping centres define their purpose? You know, you've got to put I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but you've got to put your customer at the heart of everything you do. The reason why retailers want to be in shopping centres is because there's an audience. If there's no audience, they don't want to be there. So, you know, you have to, as a shopping centre owner and operator, you have to have the most fantastic environments, not only for your customers, but also for your retailers. But you've also got to be able to make that seamless, so the tenant mix has got to be right, the leisure mix, the F&B, the experiences that you put, whether that's in-mall, out of mall, it's all got to work together. And I know we've been talking about experience centres rather than shopping centres, and we're moving towards that, but it's all working together so that at the end of the day, it's a compelling proposition for the customer.
And I would, again, just add to that and say it's not entirely up to the shopping centre to define their purpose. Again, where is the role of the audience in this? And if they don't have a role for the audience in it, make one.
Excellent point. So next one, Amazon's strength as a marketplace is customer knowledge. Malls, being the marketplace of the physical world, why did we neglect customer knowledge?
And I think that's a great question. So, you know, data. It's really important that not only do we know about our audience in terms of their social demographics, how far are they traveling, what their dwell time is, we know whereabouts they move within a mall, but we actually need to know about them as individuals, as customers. So kind of owning your audience is a big deal in the shopping centre world, and it's really hard to do because you don't have the data on them. So one of the products that we're working at the moment, hopefully, will be a big data acquisition piece for us. And the reason why we want to know more about our customers is so we can make the experience more personalised for them. One of the things that was, you know, when I first came to Intu, I was absolutely sure about was we would never share customer data with anybody ever, and we've stuck to that completely. So, you know, transparency is really important and privacy is really important, but at the same time, if we can't learn enough about our customers to create the right environment for them, they're not going to come.
Excellent point.
I would add to that as well, saying data is obviously important, but not as important as intelligence and context and nuance. Again, there are many examples of really big, huge retailers that had a lot of data and are no longer with us or are on the cusp of failing. And what they fail to appreciate is the context in which your customer is operating. That can be anything from budget to who they're with, to what they're doing and not doing or could be doing. And if you don't have that, and if you don't have the human emotional intelligence, not just data intelligence, emotional intelligence on top of that, you don't have a proposition. And a lot of the things we've heard today, the really good things, are about trying to appreciate and not forecast, but anticipate what your customer in that place at that time with those people might need, might want to do. And your job is to serve that. But it's more than data. It's about all those other layers around it as well.
Absolutely. So Karen, another question. How is the intuDigital customer acquisition strategy organized? Do you work with your traditional leasing team or?
Okay, so intuDigital was set up 5.5 years ago when they acquired my business, an online shopping centre. We now have 55 people who work as the innovation hub, and it was deliberately set up separately. And in fact, we heard a talk earlier, I think from Ralph, about culture and how difficult it is to have disruption and innovation within an existing culture because, you know, so many people have to do the day job, and whilst everything's changing, they're the people who are bringing in, you know, the pounds and the revenues to keep everything going. So it was a great idea to have us as a separate innovation hub embedded completely within the business so that we could be more disruptive, you know, whilst working with everybody who is still doing the day job. So, you know, it isn't always easy. We also, as well as innovation, we run our online shopping centre, which is effectively Intu's 15th branded shopping centre. And, you know, there was lots of interest in that at first because we have pure plays. We have Amazon and Boohoo and, you know, pure plays on that online shopping center, but they pay rent through a sale like our physical retailers pay rent. So, yeah, we do work closely with the leasing team, with the experience team, the marketing teams, where we can. But, yeah, there's a purpose for us to be separate.
I love how much the word purpose is coming up in this conversation, just saying. I want to say, would you propose to retailers to forget about traditional online marketing channels and use more of the current trends, such as Instagram influencers?
Is that one for me?
Yes.
I'm staring at you. Don't take any, it's no pressure.
Well, just thought you're being weird. No, don't forget about traditional online marketing, because a lot of it works very well. I think it's more about let's call it the cocktail that you create for any customer at any one time. It's about what's the mix that's right for you, and not just online marketing, but just marketing full stop. If you look at what a lot of, say, beauty and fashion brands are doing now, they're going back to glossy. They're go back to like really thick, you know, paper that smells good, because people still want a tactile experience. And for some things, there is nothing better than a nice thick bit of paper to communicate some kind of brand value and whatever message it is. I think, to be a bit boring, it is right place and right time, but it's understanding what is that mix, and again, what is appropriate and relevant to me right now. So it's understanding context again. I think, again, it's easy to get obsessed with Instagram influencers, and that kind of fairy tale world. The curtain is now being pulled back a little bit on that, and it's not quite so beautiful as we'd all originally imagined, #Spawn. So I think because I'm Northern and quite Northern English and quite brassy, I'm always suspicious, so I always have a look, but I'm always conscious of what is my customer trying to do, what works for them, how can I make them feel comfortable and at home. So I would treat someone in my marketing as I'd wish to treat them if they were to come into my home. I want them to feel good and have a great experience. What's right for that?
All right, one last question to come. If you could give us one innovation that we probably don't know about but should, what would that be?
That's hard.
You're on NDA, you can't say it.
So, Emma, you're sly, whoever you are. Sly fox.
For me, it's not really about one innovation. It's about the connectivity, about a number of innovations that are out there at the moment. So I did get told off yesterday on a panel because I talked about 5G being the tipping point when we are able to have such speed and such amazing amount of data that everything becomes connected. And somebody asked me a lot of detail about 5G, which I couldn't give. So that was really embarrassing. So, but what I would say is, you know, we do have the start of mixed reality, and we can see its potential. We absolutely have the start of machine learning and artificial intelligence. One of the things that we have is image recognition on our online shopping center. So anybody can take a photo of your beautiful outfit, and we will literally, it will search through all of our retailers, and in seconds, it will give you either the same items or very similar from any of our retailers that you can purchase instantly. Now, that couldn't happen 2 years ago.
Right.
So with image recognition, machine learning, AI, increased connectivity, mixed reality, with all these things coming together, that's the innovation that we're looking for, because that's when we can create a world that moves away from 2D screens and gets us heads up into a 3D spatial computing world where context is everything and social is everything, because we're heads up.
That's an amazing answer, just going there.
Well, just to build on what Karen says, I totally agree. It's about connecting things up. And to give you a real example, earlier this year, IBM launched instant checkout. It got a lot of press where the press story was you go into a store and you can dump your things on the table and you don't have to scan. Everything is recognized and you can pick up and walk out. It's not like Amazon Go, but it's that kind of idea. And everyone seized on the instant checkout thing. And actually, the more interesting thing, they all forgot that the title was instant checkout and connected store, and connected supply chain, and connected logistics. And to me, that was the innovation. That was the real kind of killer thing, because it's one thing to get to obviously make your customer's life easier in the store, but actually that resonance went back to the back of the store where the merchandise cages are, back to the warehouse, back to the distribution plans, back to the marketing plans. And for me, that ripple effect and watching that start to happen just in pilot stage at the minute is the most exciting and fascinating thing. And actually, it's not just with retailers. We're using this with food and beverage people now to hop back to something that was spoken about earlier, and in shopping centres as well. So hit me up if you want to find out about pilots. But again, the innovation is not about the outcome here. It's about the big picture here and the capability. It's not the product, it's the capability you are building. And that's the real story.
It's incredible. Well, that is all for our conversation about the innovation or intervention. I'm going to say it's intervention now. But before we close this period, I'm going to ask Dirk Hillis, Vice Chair of NextGen, who's going to speak to us about ICSC's mentoring program, to join us on the stage.
Before I want to start, I just want one more big applause for this great session on innovation. Thank you very much.
You guys are incredible.
Lauren, Karen, Mary. I'm going to take you to a little bit more of a low-tech initiative we have with NextGen, and that's mentoring. Because we believe that experience is so crucial, especially in a changing industry. And, some persons been there before, they've been around the block, and they could actually tell you a lot. We have been super busy in the last few months. We had many applications, and we were able to connect 16 great young people with experienced leaders across our industry. I'm talking Andrew Vaughan, Josip Cardoon, Clemens Brenningmeijer, and many others. And therefore, we're super glad to announce that we will launch the mentorship once again for the coming European conference. So I would highly recommend you all to apply and get that knowledge from somebody who's been around the block before and actually enriching your personal career development. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you, Dirk, and thank you, Mary and Karen, for answering all of our questions. Thank you. Give them a round of applause, guys. Thank you. Cheers. All right, so we would now like to invite Enrique Waldberg to the stage to do the next info burst about investment.
Thanks. Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks to the two ladies speaking before me, and thanks to them for this really energetic atmosphere they provided for. Unfortunately, I'm coming on stage to pour a little bit of water into the wine. We all know that, of course, the death of retail is greatly exaggerated. On the other hand side, there is a lot of caution in the investors' environment, and we do believe this has a ground as well. So I think it goes without saying that all what you invent, all the innovation which has been presented today needs capital who funds it, and capital who engages with retail, with the asset class, but with the overall industry. So I'm very honored to be asked by ICSC to launch a new initiative to connect the industry more with a capital markets point of view and with an investor's point of view. So today we had the first steering committee meeting consisting of high-level members of relevant investors, pension funds, REITs, other institutional investors, And there's more to come. That's what I can say today. Trying to put out themes for you, for us as investors, as retail investors, and to connect further with you all around the table. Thank you.
All right, all right, all right. And now, the moment that we've all been waiting for. I'm even going to do this for you so we can get this going. You good? All right, so our last speaker of the evening, or of the day, actually, before we close, is well known in the industry. Kate Trotter, head of trends, Insider Trends.